All right, today I'm going to be going over how to complete your decimal of the days. So right now I'm just going to show you how to do decimal of the day number 1. And the decimal is 5.218. So what we're going to do first is you want to round this number to 3 different places. So you're going to do it 3 different ways. Now I went ahead and highlighted so you could see which number that I was referring to. So I'd highly recommend that you use a highlighter. So we want to round this to the nearest tenths place, which is right here. So we want to know if this is going to stay 5.2 or go up to 5.3. Well, if I look at the number next to the 2, it's a 1. So because that's a 1, it is going to stay as 5.2. So that's what you would put right here. The nearest hundredths is the next number over, which is the 1. So we are trying to decide, are we going to leave this as 5.21 or should we make this 5.22? Well, look at the 8 next to the 1. Because this is an 8, that means we're going to round this 1 up to a 2. So this answer would be 5.22. The last one, be very careful. We are rounding to the nearest integer, which is this number right here. So 5 is an integer. We want to know, because of this 2, are we going to leave this as a 5 or are we going to round this up to a 6? So we are actually going to leave that as a 5 because this is a 2 next to it. So the nearest integer is 5. Now when you put the nearest integer, just put the number. You do not need to put 0.0 because we are not going to be referring to the tenths place. So we just want to put the 5. All right, so every day you're going to have a new number. The first thing you're going to do is round that number. Then we're going to compare that number to 2.7. So I went ahead and already wrote 5.218 into that spot. So if you haven't written that, go ahead and do that. And now we want to compare, is 5.218 bigger or less than or equal to 2.7? Well, I know that 5, this integer is bigger than 2. So I know that our decimal of the day is going to be greater than 2.7. All right. Also, I've already written this out so you didn't have to watch me write it, but you're welcome to pause the video if you need to write it right now. And write it as a word. So this is 5. Wherever you see the decimal, that's where you're going to put the word and. So 5 and 218. Oh, I forgot my thousandths. Thousandths with a THS because the 8 is in the thousandth spot. So we'd say 218 thousandths. All right, so we have just rounded our decimal of the day, we compared it, and we wrote it. So now we're going to be adding it. You should have already watched the videos of how to add and subtract decimals. So we're going to go ahead and add this up, and you can use this space right here to work. So we're going to put 5.218 plus 3.75. Now, right underneath that 8 is blank. So we can put a 0 here. So we can use that as a placeholder. So we know that that's a 0 right underneath. All right, once you line up your decimals for adding, you're just going to add straight down for each column. So 8 plus 0 is 8, 1 plus 5 is 6, 2 plus 7 is 9. Carry down, drop down your decimal. And 5 plus 3 is 8. So this would be our answer for adding our decimal of the day plus 3.75. Now for subtraction, the same thing. We're going to line up our decimals, 5.218 minus, this time we're doing 1.85. Again, if you want to put a 0 here as a placeholder, you can do that. All right, we're going to subtract down. 8 minus 0 is 8. But be careful, we cannot do 1 minus 5. So we do need to borrow from the 2. This becomes a 1 and this becomes an 11 because when we borrow, we just add 10. 11 minus 5 is 6. We cannot do 1 minus 8, so I'm going to borrow from this 5, make it a 4, and this also becomes an 11. 11 minus 8 is 3. Drop down the decimal, and 4 minus 1 is 3. So our answer for the subtraction is 3.368. All right, I know we have not done the notes for multiplying or dividing yet, but we are going to be multiplying and dividing by some special numbers. We're going to multiply by 10, 100, 1,000, and 10,000, and then we will divide by 10, 100, 1,000, and 10,000. So what we're going to do first When we multiply by 10 or increments of 10, we're just going to move the decimal one place to the right. So because this has 1 0, we're just going to move this decimal one place to the right. And so now our decimal is going to be between the 2 and the 1. So this answer would be 52.18. When we multiply by 100, we're going to move it two places, 1, 2. So now we have 521.8. Now we're going to move it three places, 1, 2, 3. So this would just be 5,218 because the decimal is technically right here. You can put that decimal if you want with a 0 afterwards, or you can leave it off. And multiplying by 10,000 is moving it four places, 1, 2, 3, 4. But I have an empty loop right here when I moved it four places, so I do need to put a 0 in. So this answer would be 52180, and I'm going to count backwards and just put my comma in. We can put a comma here as well. So this would be 52,180. So when you multiply in increments of 10, you're going just to move the decimal over as many places as you are multiplying by. So multiplying by 10 moves it once, multiplying by 100 moves it twice, and so on. All right, the last one here, you're going to divide. So we're going to move the decimal to the left. When you divide by 10, you're going to move it over one place. So now the decimal is in front of the 5,218. Now, some students and mathematicians like to put a 0 here, kind of like a placeholder, just so it doesn't look so funny with that decimal in front of the 5. When we divide by 100, we want to move it two places, 1, 2. Now, when I move it the second place, there's an empty loop right here. So I do need to put a placeholder, and then my decimal is right here in front. So we have 0.05218. Again, you can put that 0 in front of the decimal if you prefer. Dividing by 1,000 moves it three places, 1, 2, 3. When I moved it three places, the first loop had a 5 in it, but I need to fill in these two empty loops with additional zeros. Put your decimal here in front. So 0.005218. Again, you can put that extra 0 in the front for a placeholder. And dividing by 10,000 moves it four places, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the decimal is going to be way out here in front, so I need to fill in a few of the loops with a 0. So 0.005218. And again, I'm going to put the 0 in the front for the placeholder. Now, I am not going to do the mixed review with you, but just keep in mind, every day that you have decimal of the day, you will round it, compare it, write it, add it, subtract it, multiply it just by 100, or 10, 100, and so on, and divide it. You will also find you will get 5 questions as a mixed review, and these are all topics that we have already covered this year in math. So when you are finished filling out every decimal of the day, then it will be your job to submit these answers to Canvas. But keep in mind, I won't have you submit every single answer. I will pick 5 questions from the top for you to submit, and then you will submit your 5 mixed review answers, which will give you a total grade out of 10. You will get 2 attempts at these, so please make sure the first time that you enter these to Canvas, if you miss any, you may go back and correct them, and then you may do it again for a second attempt.